This is Tracy Hart with KHZTV Radio Network, and I am so excited because the Tony Award-winning musical Man of La Mancha is coming to the Modell Performing Arts Center starting March 14th through March 15th. I am speaking with Jack Curenton, who plays the title role, Don Quixote. Thank you so much for being on the phone with me.
Thank you, Tracy, for having me.
Absolutely. So for people out there who are not familiar with the story, can you talk a little bit about what is Man of La Mancha?
Well, Man of La Mancha is a musical that's based on the book by Miguel de Cervantes about Don Quixote. And the book Don Quixote, I had heard, was the second most read book in the world behind the Bible. The story is about this dreamer, this old character, who looks for the good in bad. He looks for righting the wrongs. He champions the downtrodden, the poor. Many people may not be familiar with Don Quixote. They may have heard of him. They may not be familiar with Man of La Mancha, but many of them have heard the song The Impossible Dream, which is the title, main bellwether song in the show. And if they haven't heard that, they may have heard the phrase jousting at windmills, or as I call it, fighting City Hall. And that's what this is all about.
So now this is a role you're pretty familiar with.
Yes, reprising the role. I did it 38 years ago when I was in college in 1975. And then I had a very lengthy hiatus, not being on the stage. And 6 years ago, I directed the show. I was supposed to take the lead at that time. But I got hired by Disney to be in their Aladdin show as the narrator and Sultan, Jasmine's father. Crazy old Disney dads. Did that, but I still directed Man of La Mancha and sent that tour on its way on the West Coast.
So how does it feel when you get out on the stage and you start performing the role?
This is my favorite role. Out of some 80 productions and 3,500 performances on stage, it is my absolute favorite role. The message is timeless. This show celebrates its 50th anniversary next year, and it is just as relevant and fresh now as it was then, because the message is a message of hope. If anyone's familiar with the song The Impossible Dream, the last line in the song is, if one man, scorned and covered with scars, still strove with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable stars. Well, through our lifetime and throughout history, we have seen those people. The Nelson Mandelas, the Martin Luther Kings, the Sister Mary Teresa, the people that one person made a difference. And if there's any message I can put out there, it would be, if you're a parent or a grandparent, bring your children to see this so they can see a message of hope, of caring, of trying to make a difference. And this is what it's all about. It's that one person that is willing to make the difference. And that's a message of hope that is eternal. This will be just as fresh 50 years from now as it was 50 years ago.
So it's very appropriate to be able to bring your children so they can experience this.
I believe so, absolutely. You know, when I was doing the Aladdin show, I was doing 4 shows a day to 2,000 people per show. That's like 8,000 of my new best friends. And every show, to me, I made like opening night, because I don't know who's out there that this is going to make a difference for them, that it may mean something for them in some fashion, a message of hope, and which all those Disney films are. But this one particularly talks about how to make a difference. Basically, the story is Don Miguel de Cervantes is thrown in prison. In the prison, the prisoners always try the new guy that comes in, and they steal all his stuff. Well, he has to tell a story to find himself innocent and convince them he's innocent. And pretty soon, that story, which is now takes us into the story, the play within a play of Don Quixote, all the prisoners start playing parts in this story. And by the end of the story, they start moving towards finding him innocent and believing in him and seeing the dreamer and wanting to right all wrongs and support the impossible dream. At the end of the show, there's a dry eye in the house, on the stage or in the house.
I'm very familiar with it, and it's a beautiful story, but it does tear at your heartstrings.
It's moving. It's very moving. And I tell people at the end of the show, I dare you not to. I dare you not to.
Absolutely. We'll be here at the Modell Performing Arts Center, which is in the heart of Baltimore. I'm sure you've performed there many times.
I have never been to Baltimore.
Really?
This is my first time, and so I'm looking for some place for the best crab cakes in Baltimore when I get there.
Wow, well, welcome to Baltimore.
My grandfather grew up and worked and retired at the Continental Can Company in Baltimore. And he always used to tell me about the Blue Point crabs and the crab cakes and all this, and I never had the chance to experience that. So I'm looking forward. I figure, you or somebody is going to point me in the right direction for the best crab cakes in town. So I can say I've had the
Absolutely.
best crab cakes in the country in Baltimore.
You will love Baltimore. It's a wonderful city. And we're really excited to be having you come in and play this.
See, I'm not so much of a stage actor anymore. I did a lot when I was younger and a lot when I first got back into acting after 30 years in business. I took a hiatus and helped grow a company from 800 clients to 35,000 clients to become the largest service organization of its type in the world. And back in 2005, I got back into acting and did a lot of stage work for a few years. And now I'm doing mostly movies and TV and commercials and stuff. But when they offered this role to me, which is my favorite of all, personally, Man of La Mancha is one of the top 10 all-time Broadway shows in history. And if you haven't seen it, you got to see it. And if you got kids or grandkids, bring them because the message is eternal.
So out of movies, TV, and on the stage, what is your favorite?
You know, this is instant gratification. It is the chance to really connect with your audience on a one-to-one personal basis. I mean, well, with 2,000 people in the audience, but it's a lot more personal, and it's a lot of work. I mean, when you're doing a movie or a commercial, you know, you film for 15 or 20 minutes, and then you go sit by the craft services table for a couple hours on the internet. So in this case, you know, we load up after the show and get on a bus and go to a hotel and get up in the morning and ride on the bus. You know, we're in West Virginia right now. We had an 11-and-a-half-hour bus ride to get here from Worcester, Massachusetts. So and then we had a day off yesterday, total day off, no bus, no performing, and it was the first one of those we've had in 6 weeks.
But my guess is you wouldn't trade it for anything.
No, it's wonderful. It really is wonderful. And this show, being my favorite of all the parts, and like I said, I've done 80 different productions, different parts, and thousands of performances. This is my favorite of all time.
Well, we definitely look forward to having you come out here to Baltimore, trying our crab cakes, of course. And
outstanding. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, and being a part of this. Again, it's the Tony Award-winning musical Man of La Mancha. There's 3 performances at the Modell Performing Arts Center right here in the heart of Baltimore on March 14th and March 15th.
But I look forward to coming and sharing Man of La Mancha with Baltimore.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome, Tracy. Look forward to meeting you.
Again, I've been speaking with Jack Curenton, who plays the title role Don Quixote in the Tony Award-winning musical Man of La Mancha. I'm Tracy Hart with KHZTV.com.